Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Kini News. Thank you. This was the response by PKR President Anwar Ibrahim when he was asked about Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad's assurance regarding the succession plan today. In an exclusive interview with the Sydney Morning Herald yesterday, Mahathir had replied in the affirmative when asked if he would pass the baton to Anwar and not PKR Deputy President Azmin Ali, who is speculated to be his preferred successor. When met in Parliament today, Anwar also pointed out that the decision regarding who would succeed Mahathir was made before the last general election and that Pakatan Harapan leaders have not nominated other candidates for the post.
Itu Sri, itu waktu ada interview dengan Sydney Herald, Tun mengesahkan akan bagi jawatan Perdana Menteri.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih dekat siapa tu maksud?
Dan terima kasih kepada rakyat berbagai harapan kepada Tun. Dan itu saya dah jelaskan, saya sebenarnya saya ikhlas, saya malas nak jawab. Asyik itu dah berpuluh-puluh kali. Keputusan dibuat sebelum pilihan raya, mandat dalam pilihan raya. Okay? Dan setakat ini tidak ada pimpinan Pakatan Harapan yang mengusulkan mana-mana lain.
However, Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has still not committed to a timeline for this said transition of power. During an interview with the Financial Times, Mahathir said that there was no actual date or time mentioned. In the interview at the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit in Bangkok, Mahathir also asserted that he will honour his pledge for his former rival Anwar Ibrahim to succeed him as the Premier. When asked if at the moment Mahathir Mohamad remains to be the only person who is able to run Malaysia right now, Mahathir's reply was, at the moment, maybe. Let's move on to Tanjong Pas. Johor Menteri Besar Dr. Sharudin Jamal has defended the statement made by Pakatan Harapan candidate Carmine Sardini that people should be thankful because the price of oil palm is now higher than that during the time of the Barisan National Government. At a ceramah last night, Sharudin said that the price of oil palm rose to 350 ringgit per ton last month, and this shows that Harapan is doing their best for the community.
Kalau tuan-tuan dan puan-puan perhatikan, harga sawit pada kerajaan yang lepas harganya lebih rendah dibandingkan harga yang telah disebut oleh calon Pakatan Harapan, di mana beliau menyebut harga dia 270. Di situlah mengapa calon kita menyebutkan kita sepatutnya bersyukur kerana harga bila di bawah kerajaan Pakatan Harapan harga dia naik.
Sharudin also has some good news for fisherfolk in southern Johor, including in Tanjong Pas and Pontian. At a press conference in Kota Iskandar today, he announced that the fisherfolks will be receiving 1,000 ringgit in special aid from the state government. He said this aid had been given annually since 2015 to fisherfolk affected by development in southern Johor. Past President Abdul Hadi Awang has downplayed Barisan Nasional's Tanjong Pas candidate Wee Jack Seng's opposition to the Islamist Party's bid to amend the Sharia Courts Criminal Jurisdiction Act 1965, also known as Act 355, that will allow the partial implementation of hudud law. Hadi, whose party has backed Wee in the Tanjong Pas by-election, said that it was only a personal opinion. At a press conference yesterday, he added that MCA was not a party of Pakatan Harapan or Barisan Alternative at the time that PAS had tabled a private member's bill to amend Act 355.
MCA dan RU 355. Di mana MCA di masa itu bukan rakan dalam Pakatan Rakyat dan bukan rakan dalam Barisan Alternatif. MCA ada hak di atas konsep kebebasan beragama untuk beri pandangan dia. Tetapi malangnya di AP yang duduk dalam pakatan menentang sama-sama dan kempen dengan cara yang agresif. Oleh sebab itu sikap kita antara MCA dan DAP berlainan dalam isu ini.
Economic Affairs Minister Azmin Ali has vowed to settle any outstanding travel expenses required of him. He said this in response to the recent suit filed against him by a travel agency to recover some 328,901 ringgit in unpaid flight tickets and hotel bookings.
I have not seen the summon read. Saya telah minta pegawai-pegawai saya untuk menyemak tuntutan yang dibuat oleh travel agent yang berkenaan. Sekiranya masih ada lagi baki outstanding yang belum dibayar, saya kena bayarlah. Tanggungjawab saya untuk membayar.
And now let's look at international headlines. As people in Britain celebrated Guy Fawkes Day yesterday, hundreds in Hong Kong also donned the same Guy Fawkes masks to mark the event. The only difference here is that the ones in Hong Kong actually broke the law by wearing the masks. Hundreds of Hong Kong protesters marked Guy Fawkes Day on Tuesday in the Tsim Sha Tsui tourist district of Kowloon by wearing the white Guy Fawkes masks made popular by hacker group Anonymous, the film V for Vendetta, and protesters globally. Some protesters vandalized traffic lights and a restaurant perceived as being pro-Beijing, prompting police to move in with their water cannon, as they have done on many nights during the 5 months of demonstrations. Guy Fawkes Day, also called Bonfire Night, is celebrated with fireworks and bonfires every 5th of November in Britain. So-called effigies of guys are burned, marking the night in 1605 when Fawkes was arrested for what was called a gunpowder plot to blow up Parliament. Last month, Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam had banned face masks, invoking colonial-era emergency powers for the first time in more than 50 years. But the protesters have largely ignored the ruling. Nigerian police announced that they have freed 259 people from an Islamic rehabilitation center in the southwestern city of Ibadan on Tuesday, taking the number rescued from abusive institutions since September to nearly 1,500.
More than 250 people, many appearing malnourished, have been freed from an abusive Islamic rehabilitation center in the Nigerian city of Ibadan. That's according to police, who say Monday's operation rescued some people chained and locked inside the building. And many captives said they had been physically and sexually abused. One man described the conditions, saying there was never enough food.
We eat 1 meal a day. If you see what you eat, bro, even though if you give your dog at home, your dog can't eat it. That's what we manage here. When you come here for the first 3 days, I couldn't eat anything. But as time goes on, as the hunger met me, I couldn't do anything than to just do what they're doing here.
9 people, including the owner of the center, have been arrested, according to police, who say nearly 1,500 people have been freed from abusive institutions in Nigeria since September. While the details on this particular rehab center are slim, many facilities like it are said to provide discipline for those considered unruly. Many were brought to these places by relatives. At other raided facilities, some parents thought their children were there to be educated and even paid tuition fees.
And now, before we wrap up, here are some other news highlights from today. And that's all we have time for, ladies and gentlemen. For more, you can log on to KiniTV.com. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Dailymotion for the latest news. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching.